All right, Breach, I'm going to come back to you. When you were a little late to the podcast because you're doing HQ, you were extremely rude to Harry, who, by the way, won his fantasy league. Harry. And do you want to take this opportunity to apologize to Harry and the Dolphins? Because everyone except me and producer Harry doubted the Dolphins. Had a huge win. You guys called it the Fraud Bowl. I went back and watched it this morning because we had family over last night. I thought it was a great game. I think part of the issue is when you fast forward through games and you don't listen to all the chit-chat in between, it's actually a little different experience. I actually enjoyed it. I thought both teams are really good teams, and Prince, you sort of mentioned this before we started the pod. And it was a tight game between two playoff teams who are sort of the Spider-Man meme. Does that sound about right, Breach?
Yeah. I mean, it can be called the Fraud Bowl and still be a great game. That doesn't mean you can't get. You have two frauds playing each other. That is the recipe for a great game. Come on.
Oh, it's a Fraud Bowl coming in. Not. I thought you meant coming out. It was a Fraud Bowl.
No, I think the Dolphins are good. I think the Cowboys are good, but there will be no apology because look, what the Dolphins do, their offense scored one touchdown. It's not like they went out there and put up 40 on the Cowboys defense. Granted, I wasn't very impressed with how Tua played, especially under pressure because he has struggled a little bit under pressure this year. Getting them in the field goal range on that game-winning drive was awesome. And the thing that actually really impressed me about what the Dolphins did was how well their defense played. It was, you expect the Dolphins to put together scoring drives. Tua threw for almost 300 yards. What I didn't expect was for their defense to pretty much shut down the Cowboys, except for Dallas's early drive and then the late drive where they got the touchdown. But other than that, I mean, the Dolphins were dominant. They got after Dak Prescott. They sacked him 4 times. They shut down the Cowboys' ground game. And I mean, CeeDee Lamb had a big game, but that was it. It was either CeeDee Lamb or nothing. And so I was impressed with the Dolphins defense. And that's what they need. If you're going to win in the playoffs, your defense has to show up. So I think it was encouraging to see them play that well.
Yeah. I think, the Dolphins didn't finish drives very well. 1 of 4 in the red zone.
You want to give any credit to the Cowboys though?
I don't know that. I think the point I made before we popped on the podcast, we were sort of talking as we were waiting for Breach to come on HQ, is like, I thought the most interesting thing to me about this game was that when the Cowboys needed a drive, Dak engineered one and set it up on a would-be game-winning drive. And then Tua of the Dolphins, and now Tua did a great job, but I think you mostly would give credit to Mike McDaniel in the run game. Huge third down throw to Tyreek by Tua. But, when the Dolphins needed a drive, they went and got one. And these two teams, the total here was 51.5. It dropped down to 49. A bunch of sharp people were hammering the under. It ends up being 22-20. Ton of field goals. I think Jason Sanders had 5, or Saunders had 5, and then Brandon Aubrey kept his perfect streak going. I don't know that I necessarily got an answer about either of my fraudulent concerns. The Cowboys didn't go on the road and win, but they easily could have.
Well, the Dolphins beat a winning team for once. They're 1-3 now.
But they only scored 22 points. And
I mean, wait a second. Why are you not giving credit to Dan Quinn and that defense though?
No, I am. Look, I think you're right. The Dolphins defense is really good too. I don't think that the overwhelming concern about these two teams was necessarily answered by I thought one thing would be answered, and yes, the Dolphins did beat a team above 500. But
here, let me ask you to rank this. Which team right now at 12:29 Eastern time, 11? It's still Christmas for Breaches, by the way, which is weird. Right now, which teams do you feel better about? Rank them. San Francisco, Miami, Dallas.
San Francisco won easily by a wide margin.
For me.
I think San Francisco easily won by a wide margin. I would put Miami 2 and then Dallas 3. Look,
let me get Bridges rankings and then you can circle back.
Well, the reason I have
with Brenton.
Okay, the reason I have Dallas 3, and I'm going to assume Breach does too, dude. Mike McCarthy didn't chortle up or whatever in this game badly, I guess, but I don't trust this Cowboys team in a close game in the playoffs. And now they, because of this loss, are almost certainly going to have to win 3 road games in order to get to they would have to win 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, who cares? That was Breach's first overall pick, so we're fine there. They're going to lose in the first round. I don't think anyone thinks they're going to win 3 on the road. But I don't. I think you're Breach. Do you agree that you feel the same about I feel a lot better about the Dolphins.
I don't know if I'd feel better about the Dolphins. I mean, I think I have a hard time seeing the Cowboys get past the 49ers. I have a hard time. The Cowboys are 0-4 grass. They can't win away games. So there's a lot of question marks about the Cowboys certainly going to the playoffs.
Also, when we talk about the Dolphins, and again, like I'm not trying to troll producer Harry here by any stretch of the imagination, but what does this conversation look like? 6 days from now, on what time is that game on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
On New
1 p.m. Eastern on CB.
Yeah, we'll cross that road. But for now, can Harry appreciate the win? And I thought it was a pretty good win.
Enjoy. Yeah, so come you win. You go to the
We
playoffs.
should have asked us to rank them and how we feel about them then. This was a great win for the Dolphins. I will absolutely
it's a great win for the Dolphins. It's just I think that what odds would you need to take the Cowboys to win the NFC or the Dolphins to win the AFC?
Yeah, like the Cowboys are different. I thought they played well in that game, but they lost. So that's a problem. But I feel better about the Dolphins, a team that we said didn't beat anyone.
But if the Ravens beat the Dolphins by 25 points on next Sunday, where's your head going to be at with the Dolphins?
Oh yeah, it'll switch. But I mean, it's like that every week. So for now, I want to enjoy it. But I mean, we just talked about being worried about the 49ers because Brock Purdy is a pumpkin and they can't play from behind, but you feel way, way, way better about well,
I think one concern with the Dolphins, though, is the Jalen Waddle injury. He's dealing with the high ankle sprain, and that could put him out against the Ravens.
Look, they lost Connor Williams. Eichenberg's at center now. They ran the ball well, but I don't know. It feels like the Dolphins are getting some unfortunate injury, and everybody gets hurt this time of year. I mean, Mark Andrews out. You have like Trent Williams banged up. I mean, but contenders are losing players, right? But it feels like the Dolphins are. There's just so much. There's not a lot of room for error if they lose some of these skill position guys.
Yeah, but like you said, that's it. That doesn't matter. If Trent Williams doesn't play, that's a huge problem.